All right, let's talk some Mike White. And to be honest, this is kind of the most predictable outcome that would happen, right? Is Mike White. Mike White plays a good defense and has a very difficult time. The Bills' defense is good, and I think that he's going to get too much criticism for this game, just like he got too much praise for his 400-yard game. The reality is, I like what I've seen from Mike White. We're probably not going to see much more from him, but to me, he's shown he's an NFL player. But let's talk about just what went wrong in this game. So let's just get into the film. So I think this play right off the bat is kind of an example of really what Mike White struggled with, which isn't really like a him specific thing. This is just kind of almost a welcome to the NFL game for him. I know that he's played 2 games before, but those games had really easy degree of difficulties. This was a tough degree of difficulty game. This felt like what Zach Wilson had to go through so far this season. What's happening on this play is it's zone coverage, you're running a play action, and this route can work against zone coverage. So all of this stuff is, on paper, it makes sense for Mike White here to want to make this throw. Watch, White takes the snap, he's going to run to play action, and you see right here, there is a window for White to make this throw. So I get why he's doing this. The issue is just when you have NFL talented players who can read this well, a linebacker is going to drop back into coverage a lot quicker in the NFL than they are in college. And while Mike White has been in the NFL for a few years, there's a difference between seeing this, on the practice squad versus seeing it in an actual NFL game. A.J. Klein, that was the linebacker, drops back, nearly gets the interception. Probably could have been a pick 6 had he got it. You could blame Mike White if you want to for that, but to me, that's just a young player mistake, and that's what we saw a lot of in this game, which is Mike White just had a few plays where he was, just struggling a little bit in terms of getting exactly what he had to get out of certain plays. And unfortunately for him, as a guy who was not a high draft pick, you don't get the same time to let people watch you develop that Zach Wilson's going to get. Let's now go over to this one, because this one's kind of honestly a bit baffling. I don't know what White was thinking on this play. It's going to be zone coverage. It's a cover 2 play. You have a receiver who's going to try and get into a gap in coverage right here. It's, again, something that on paper could work, and I think that's what White struggled with. Is you see what he did against, Cincinnati and even against the Colts for a little bit before he went out, was he would just, run the play the way the offense intended. And the first reads were getting open on most plays. And he even showed flashes of that in this game, although I'm not really going to focus on that too much because we already know he can do that. We saw him do it against Cincinnati. So look, when White takes the snap, I just don't know exactly what he's thinking here. I mean, the deeper route is just not open. The underneath route is open. The check down, which is what he had a lot of success throwing to, is, and I would say, there is a possibility, because he's going to get hit when he was thrown, that he was actually aiming for a check down and he gets bumped, which would make a lot more sense because the deeper route is just not open at all. White is going to get hit as he's thrown and it ends up getting intercepted. It looked like he was looking deeper, but I can't really tell. So, even on the other angle, I couldn't exactly tell which guy he was looking towards. So I don't know what he was doing. I think he was throwing it deep and was making a dumb decision. It's possible he was trying to do the check down though. So you have to throw that asterisk in. I don't know. However, either way, due to him getting, bumped, that's just going to create, that's going to make it look a lot uglier in the broadcast footage. Either way, I don't think it was a horrible play. It was just kind of he tried to fit it through a window he never should have fit it through if he was going deep. And if he was trying to take the check down, he just got hit when he was thrown in an unfortunate break. But there was also stuff like this where you definitely saw that when the windows got tighter, you kind of saw, okay, this is how difficult it can be, not just being a quarterback in the NFL, but being a quarterback in the NFL for the New York Jets, as long as they're not playing a team that's going to play soft zone coverage the entire game. The Bills played zone coverage, but they played zone coverage in a way where they were aware of concepts designed to beat zone coverage, whereas Cincinnati was just like, oh, that's an interesting coverage. All right, have fun getting open. I got to cover this blade of grass. Well, here, Buffalo's not going to do that. It's a route over the middle against zone coverage. It can work. It's a good concept, but Buffalo knows that this stuff can happen. So watch how when White takes the snap, you see that, again, there is kind of a window, but it's very tight. And this is something that in college can work a lot better than it can in the NFL. White makes the throw. It's actually a good throw. I mean, you can't really blame White for this play. This is just kind of less of a what Mike White was doing wrong and more of a what the Jets were not doing right, I guess is the way I would phrase it. Again, there were checkdowns on this play, but the issue is the checkdowns were also, they were paying attention because in, previous games, teams weren't paying attention to checkdowns, which allowed them to get a lot of yards. Buffalo, being a lot smarter there. Like something like this is just it's a great example of kind of what just what the Jets do poorly, which is when teams play man coverage, the Jets just don't get anyone open, like nobody open. I remember in the first Patriots game when Wilson threw 4 interceptions, everyone was saying Wilson needs to take checkdowns. Wilson needs to play more cautious. Well, it's like, well, in man coverage, checkdowns don't exist. And for Mike White, who had thrived off of checkdowns, and that's not an insult, that's a compliment in some ways. You're getting the ball down the field. That's what you're supposed to do. But when he had thrived in that stuff, the Bills took it away at times, and the Jets just had no answer. Because you see what's going to happen on this play. It's a cover 1 hole, meaning that you have man coverage across the board. You also have a linebacker who's covering the middle of the field and a single safety deep. So it's hard to get underneath stuff. Really, the way you win is towards the sidelines. However, right when this play starts, you see that the Jets just don't have guys who can win in one-on-one matchups. Even with a pick play towards the top of the screen, it's only going to get you like a yard or two. That's the one all the way towards the top of the screen that thrived on the pick. The other 3 eligible receivers who are running routes on this play, there's literally contact being made. They're literally all currently are getting touched by the Buffalo defender. So there's literally 0 separation for those 3 guys. This is just kind of the struggle for White. He's going to make this throw. I'm not sure if he threw it away or if it was a missed throw. I'll give him the benefit of the doubt, say he threw it away. But that's just kind of an issue is, again, give credit to Mike White at least, because Zach Wilson was throwing interceptions in these situations. At least Mike White has the wherewithal to throw it away. But it's still, it's why the Jets offense can struggle. It's also why, to a large degree, I don't put that much blame on Zach Wilson for his, rough start to the season. And although I still would say Wilson hasn't played as well as I would have hoped, it's also why I'm not going to crush Mike White for a bad game, because I keep in mind, he's playing for the Jets, who are bad. Granted, there are plays like this, which are, again, what I would probably consider a rookie mistake more than anything. So it's cover 3 zone, and this deep route, typically the whole point of this deep route is you're taking away the safety. That's all you're doing. Safety stays deep. Good job. You've taken the safety out of the play. So now at this point, it's, only 6 guys over the middle of the field. In fact, a lot of times you can get a corner to go with you as well. So you can get 2 players out of the way with just 1 guy. So that's what you're trying to do. Usually that's how this works. However, the safety doesn't always stay deep. Like on this play, what you're going to see is that the safety, in fact, does crash in, takes over a different route, meaning that there's no safety on this play. There's 2 corners who are deep, and in fact, both of them notice this play. This is Tre'Davious White just doing Tre'Davious White type things, I would say. Because for Mike White, he's saying, okay, well, there's no way Tre'Davious White's going to get over there. The safety has crashed in. It's a one-on-one matchup. Let's take a chance, which I get the logic behind. And this play works if Tre'Davious White doesn't make a great read. However, Tre'Davious White does make a great read, and this is, again, just the issues of playing against Buffalo and kind of the issues of being a young quarterback is you kind of don't fully realize just how good some of these players are, just how good some of these defensive backs are, where you think, okay, because on paper this play should work, then it'll work. Not always how it works out. This one's another example where it's going to be kind of a similar thing. It's a cover 3 zone. This play could work on paper. Just a quick curl route that's going to be in a gap in coverage. Look, so Mike White's going to run a play action, and you see at this point, I mean, there is a window where you can make this throw. Now, there's kind of a linebacker in between, but in a second, it will get open. The issue for Mike White is really just that, again, corners are good, and corners can break in quickly. So White makes an understandable read, but just windows aren't open as quick as they aren't open as big as they are in college, and they're not open for as long as they are in college. So I think Zach Wilson made an interception that was like this exact play. So it happens. You got to be a little bit, better at learning about this stuff. And that's kind of what, Mike White has to learn. And the issue is just, is he going to really get the playing time to actually learn it? And the answer is probably not, unfortunately, which does kind of suck. But all right, one last play. And this is kind of the argument, basically, that I've been saying all along, where I think it's probably going to go down as kind of silly at a certain point, that there was a legit quarterback controversy with Mike White and Zach Wilson. And what I always maintained is Mike White might be the better player right now, but Zach Wilson clearly has the better potential. And this is a good example where it's a good read and everything. Cover 1, it's a cover 1 blitz. You have a receiver running a go route towards the sideline. And look at how right when this play starts. So, it was there's a little double move there. So there's a situation where this can absolutely work out. Safety is crashing in a little bit, so it's going to be tough. But I don't hate this decision whatsoever from Mike White to make this throw. One slight thing is he is going to kind of throw off his back foot due to a little bit of pressure, although I think he could have still stepped into it. But I mean, you see, this is just not a good throw whatsoever. And again, like Zach Wilson's missed throws as well, but this is the issue with Mike White, is the hope is that he has a high floor, but we all know his ceiling just, it's not as high as some other guys. And the goal is not to get the 25th best starting quarterback. The goal is to get a starting quarterback or, a top 5 starting quarterback, right? So it's not a horrible play, but it's just, I think it's one example of, yeah, the upside just might not be there with White. So yeah, kind of one of those interesting situations. Reminds me a bit of the Kyle Allen situation. And listen, for all we know, Zach Wilson won't be back next week, and we'll get to see more Mike White, although it seems like Wilson will be back against Miami. And if this is, his last hurrah, hey, at least you got that one game. And like I said, kind of a Kyle Allen situation where he came in, looked good for a second, but then kind of fell back down to earth, which does tend to happen. Taylor Heineke, another example, which, these things happen. Again, you could also sit here and say, well, hey, if, as for someone like me, I didn't overreact to that one big game that he had because I felt like, a lot of it was situation based. You could make the same argument the other way around, which is this is one bad game and, a lot of it was situation based. So the reality is Mike White's just a big question mark. Someone's going to invite him to at least be on a preseason roster and see what they have in him. So you made some money, although I do think Mike White maybe cost himself millions of dollars with this game, which is certainly unfortunate. But that's what I think. What do you guys think? Let me know in the comments below. Jeez, I've been talking for too long. Let me know in the comments below. Always love hearing from you. And of course, as always, thanks for watching.